Downtown Somebody with your host, Vince. And now we're on the air.
Hello, VI people. Back to the show, back to Vince's VI podcast. And we're just going to go and finish up things with Bonnet. It's the last part of the interview, and this is the most personal part, definitely. He goes into some really personal stuff, and it's a really fascinating listen. Sorry about my voice. I had a gig yesterday with Desmond and Julian Drain and Sammy, and that was freaking awesome. And good news, we're gonna get to do that again 4th of next month, so hopefully I'll see people coming to check that concert out. It was just hell of a time. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, really personal stuff that we're gonna listen to now for the next, 15 minutes. And thanks once again to Mr. Bonnet. It was an absolute pleasure and a privilege for him to be on the show. No, for me to have him on the show. I mean, he was happy to do it, and yeah, I'm definitely grateful for him. Yeah, let's go and listen to it. Okay, so final words here with Graham. The coffee has been put down to shoot, so I'm gonna let you go and rest, because I know you've had a long day and you got long days coming.
Yeah, the bags under the eyes, they don't seem to go away anymore. You know, my face is slipping off my skull.
It's called character nowadays.
It's called character. Yeah, I call it a bulldog face or prune face. Yeah, it's I had a disease when I was in Alcatraz, which took away all the muscle tone on the right-hand side of my face. It's called Bell's palsy, and I couldn't move one side of my face, and so it all kind of slipped down. And now, as I've got older, it's more obvious, because my skin was down like this, and I couldn't close my eyes. It was all paralyzed. It looked like I'd had a heart attack, a stroke. And over the years, it's just got worse. And I guess one of these days I'll have to have it kind of
Little nip and tuck.
Just to bring it back up again, because sometimes it's hard to speak. If I'm really tired, it's sort of like that. I spit a lot, like I just did, and it really annoys me. I can see it more than other people, but it's this side of my face I always have a baggy eye on this side. So that's sometimes why I wear dark glasses. It's like I don't want anybody to see this, but I've always worn some kind of glasses on stage back then.
Isn't it hard to see now, because you got your notes? Like, isn't it hard?
No, I can still see. I've got long vision, so I can't read here. If I'm reading, a book, I never read books. What am I talking about? But if I'm reading something that I have to hold close to my face, I can't see, so I have to wear just reading glasses. Yeah, and my other ones are just to cover my eyes up and my shame, so I can hide from the audience and they don't see me crying.
The oldest trick in a book.
Well, everybody wears the damn thing. It was a thing, wasn't it? I mean, Rob Halford and all of them, all those guys, everybody wore dark glasses. It was like the thing to do. It was because of the red eye syndrome, the cocaine and the whatever else, and nobody wanted to see those red eyes. So, but with me, it's just baggy. I just get tired eyes. So, and the lights sometimes bug me a little bit. I'm an epileptic as well, and sometimes if the lights flash, it can set my epilepsy off.
So what are you doing? Like if that starts happening?
My eyes. Well, I turn away. Well, the dark glasses help a little bit, but nobody knows that. But with those strobe lights when they flash, all that, it makes me kind of feel dizzy and stuff, and so I have to be really careful. So what we try to do is not use strobes if people want to use them, But a lot of the clubs we play now don't have hardly any lighting because they're rock clubs and it's just regular lighting, luckily enough. But when we do, bigger places like we do with Whitesnake, there's all the shit going on, all the strobes and whatever else. So I just have to be very careful, and I have to make sure there's no smoke around either because I'm asthmatic. I have asthma. What don't I have? I can walk, but that's about it. So it's one of those things that kind of stuck with me, and I know Richard didn't like it, but it when I wore them, he thought it was too corny, and everybody does that. It's just stupid. Well, I thought it was a bit stupid myself, but I said it is for a reason. But I do take them off once in a while.
But you also made it your own. Like people sort of still say, yeah, that's the look.
Ray-Bans, the Aviators. Well, these are different ones. These ones are Ray-Ban clubs. These are a different one. But I've got some Ray-Bans I wear on stage. I've got them with me. But that's the only reason really I wear them, is just to sometimes hide that I'm not reading words. They can't see what my eyes are going. And also the flashing lights. So.
Well, we gotta do what we gotta do, and whatever looks outside to the crowd, if it looks good,
Yeah, because I stopped wearing them for years, and people said, "Where's your glasses?" So, well, no, that was then. This is now. Oh, you got to wear your glasses. So I started putting them on again, But they're not necessary, really, But it's just a little thing I do. It's a sort of a trademark, I guess, in a way. But I'm not the only one that does it. I'm not the first person to wear Ray-Bans on stage. It's been going on for years with all the old rock and rollers, Way back to the 1950s, people used to wear dark glasses to look cool. And it was also associated with drug addicts, of course, in the jazz clubs. Every jazz player wore dark glasses and a Homburg, a hat, so, hey, man, it's really... Yeah, because they really did have...
And have to sit down because you can't stand up.
Yeah. But it goes back to those days that, throws back to the 40s when the black jazz players used to play all that stuff, and there'd be, the stogie hanging out here, a nice little roll of something, a roll of weed, and playing the bass, upright bass. And, yeah, man, it's cool. The beret or whatever. But I think it goes back to then, and the rock and rollers took that over because it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't pop. Pop singers had nice hair. It was all nice and page boy hairstyle and no sunglasses, but very clean looking. And that gave rock and rollers a bit of dirt. Like, I wonder why they're wearing glasses. I bet they're on drugs. And that's really cool.
But maybe, a lot of them were also. And
but I never got into that really. I was just a terrible, heavy drinker. And I quit, I quit almost 9 years ago now. So it helped me out because I think I would have killed myself eventually, It's I've seen too many Gary Moore died, he poisoned himself with alcohol, and oh my God, I can count, I don't know how many people I've lost who have been my friends back in England who are singers or drummers or whatever, musicians, and it's all the same thing. It was either coke or booze, So I never got into coke. I couldn't. It didn't do anything to me. I used to go, do all this, and nothing's happening. What's the deal with that? My poison was beer, pints and pints of beer before I even went on stage. So it was all a crutch really to get me through the show, because I'd feel happy about everything. Even if it was bad, it was good,
I think a lot of times you're drinking because out of boredom, like backstage and in a...
Yeah, you're in the green room and you're waiting to go on. And I used to go to, when I was in Rainbow, I used to go to Rich's room. He'd say, "Are you going to come down to my room at about, say the show was at 8. Are you going to come down to my room at 7:30? I said, well, what's up? He said, I just want to sit with you for a bit and just talk to you. Oh, okay. And he'd have his bottle of whiskey, and he'd have it marked to where we would drink to, with a little, a magic marker with a felt tip pen. And he'd say, well, when we get there, we should be right. So when we got to a certain level on that bottle, he said, I think I feel right to go on now. Do you? I said, yeah. Yeah. If we didn't have it, it was the weirdest thing to go on stage sober. I remember one night Richie did go on sober because there was no drink around. We're in a dry state, somewhere in the States where they don't have booze, and he didn't come out on stage. He hid behind his Marshall stack. And so I'm going like, Richie Blackmore.
He was nervous.
Yeah. He didn't feel relaxed, and that's what he did. Every night was a party. So before you went on stage, you got drunk. You're still drinking when you're on stage. There's beers lined up along the side there, and our crew would hand me a beer, and I'll give it back, and then go back up, up again. But every night was a party, and it was like we were just playing to ourselves almost, because we were just all looking at each other and going, yeah. And you see like 2 rows of the audience, and maybe there's so many thousands of people out there, but it felt like you're in a living room, in a recording studio, because we didn't care, and everything went well, seemed to do. There was no nerves about anything. It was just to calm the nerves. So, I had to stop doing it, otherwise I'd be dead probably.
So what are you doing? Like, what are you gonna do tomorrow before the show? Like, now you don't have that sort of habit anymore, so you gotta do something different.
Nothing. I just have water. I drink water, and I try to be as normal as possible and not get too nervous about things. But sometimes it's difficult, especially if I've traveled a long way like I have now. It's like, oh God, am I going to get through tomorrow night without croaking and my voice getting tired or my body feeling tired? Because without the strength of my diaphragm, the notes won't come out. And if I'm tired, I can tell after the first song that, oh God, this is going to be hard. I'm going to have to push. And then when you start pushing your voice, then you get croaky. So you've got to kind of like hold back and then get back into that mode of gradually building as you get to the middle of the show. And I've been off the road for a while, and sometimes you lose that technique, which should come automatically, but it doesn't when you don't sing all the time. When I'm doing sessions, it's different. You can stop the tape and stop the recording, and off you go, and you do the second part tomorrow if you want to, but this has got to go. You've got to get all the way through, and of course sometimes you get croaky toward the end. Sometimes I get croaky like into the third to last song. I'll be like, my smooth voice isn't coming out. Oh dear, that means I've got to sing it hard. And then after that, the last 2 songs seem to be okay. I don't know what it is. It's so weird. But it's difficult. It's very difficult.
Sometimes I've noticed it's sort of like you realize, oh, I made it. It's only 2 songs. That sort of release a little bit extra something.
Yeah, and then you feel better, and you feel happy again. You go, oh, I can do anything. And when you can't sing when you have some kind of problem on your mind. I can't concentrate. If I have a depression, I get depressed about. Certain things I've got to do, and I'm worried about something. And when you don't feel happy, your voice isn't happy. It tightens up because you're stressed. So all your vocal cords tighten. You get like that. Your throat tightens, and everything. You've heard speakers, when speakers are doing, political speakers, they go out there and sometimes their voice goes, and they're not shouting or anything, they're just talking in a normal voice, but because they're stressing, it tightens up, and that's what happens with singers.
But hey, all right, we've been talking I don't know how long, but this was absolutely amazing.
It was, wasn't it? And now for a song.
Yeah, let's go to local karaoke bar. There's just one across the street.
ABBA songs.
Oh, yeah. Knowing me, knowing you. Next up. Yeah. And the local winos. Get off the stage. We want to do Finnish traditional songs.
Well, that'd be different.
Definitely. But hey, thank you very much for the interview, and this is going to be out hopefully later tonight. I got to edit all this stuff out. We got a lot of good material tonight, definitely.
Well, I hope so, yeah. I mean, this is nice and relaxing to just talk about it instead of actually having to go out there and physically sing at the moment. I've just done that. As I said, we just finished rehearsal, and that was a couple of hours. So,
and you got 4 more days of that.
Yeah, so I hope we can get through the 4 days without me falling over.
Well, we hope for the best, and it's probably going to be an excellent tour. I believe in. I have one last question for you. One last question. Would you consider recording with this Finnish band? Could you maybe someday in the future do something with these guys?
Oh yeah, possibly, because they're a great band. I love them. I mean, I've known them for 7 years, and I'd like to do a track if they want me to. I don't know if they want me to, but
I'm gonna start lobbying immediately after this interview. We want to hear it. Everybody wants to hear it, definitely.
we thought about it years ago, and probably about 4 years ago, we talked about doing something, and it just never happened because I had to do something else, and I can't remember what it was now. I was getting paid to do somebody else's album for something. I think it was a guy from, a guy in Holland. He sent me some tracks to actually write the words and, make up the melodies to these songs. And I think that's why I didn't do it. But we talked about it, and Jay, their old bass player, remember Jay? Yeah. I mean, he said, yeah, we got to do this, it'll be really good. And he said, I've got a song we can do, one of mine as well. And we just never did it because all this other stuff came up. And it's a long way to come here. And, well, you know what I mean. It just got too complicated. And I wanted to do it, but it just didn't happen,
Let's see when you're listening to this on a tour bus and the guys are going to start again. Hey, we should do this, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to do a couple of songs, because I know they have their own thing going for them. I mean, they're very, very successful. I mean, they play in front of big audiences, and it's fantastic for them. I'm so proud of them. And it's really nice to play with these guys because they're such good friends of mine, and I love them all. They're great. They're great musicians, and they play everything just the way it should be.
All right, that's probably the best note we can end on. So thank you very much.
Okay,
and this is Vince's VIPodcast, and back to the studio.
And here is the studio.
Yeah, here we are at the studio, and I am your studio master, your host, your guide in these VI podcasts. I am Vince, and that was the end of the Graham Bonnet interview series. We got a good, about an hour out of it. Also, I got some extra stuff, but I think that's the gist of it. 4 parts, really good stuff. And thank you once again to Mr. Graham Bonnet. And I hope all of y'all went to see him on tour. And if you didn't, definitely make your voices loud. Get him back to Finland and as fast as possible. And as I said, I'm gonna start lobbying for that album with these guys, with the Finnish band. So definitely, Laku, maybe you can do something about it. I don't know. Anyway, that's almost about it. We're almost out of time with the show. Talking about next week, I'm probably gonna take a little bit of a break from the shows, let you guys listen to all the old episodes, all the old parts. And the next episode will be coming out on Friday. And I will be having an interview with Mathau Mikojan. Maybe something else, let's see. But definitely Mathau's gonna be on the show. And we're gonna do a show with Mathau. Speaking of it, not only the Vince's VI podcast, but Vince's VIP, which is always, as usual, in Amadeus. And that'll be on the 21st. We start playing, I'd say 10 o'clock at 2200 hours, as they say. So definitely come and check that stuff out. And if things go as I've planned, maybe we'll have some really interesting news for you on the next VI podcast. But as I said, that's gonna be out next Friday. But hey, thanks very much for listening. Go back, listen to all the other shows. Follow me on YouTube and just, dig the show, share the show with all your friends. And let's see if we can keep this train rolling. Anyway, I'm off to bed because it's past midnight already. So good night, everybody. See you later.